Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am Bekah Jo, aka the Makeup Tax Lady. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. So in today's video, we are talking at length about the Flower Moon palette by Ensley. The last long form video that I uploaded was with this palette and was swatching this palette on my face. I'll have that video linked in the description box in case you're curious. I have had this palette for several months now. I keep going back to it. I keep playing with it. I have recorded several of those looks, but certainly not all of them. So today I wanted to do one look together and then show you the looks. I think I have 7. If I don't have 7, I will correct myself on the screen here. So I guess doing today's look would be look number 8, give or take. So let's put this look together. I'll show you the other several looks that I have made with this palette. And then at the end, we can come back together and I'll give you all of my thoughts on this palette. If you see a little bit of pink on my eyes right now, I don't have anything, just a little bit of like a light coverage concealer on my eyes. It may be just a little bit of staining. I had an eye look on previously that I took off to do this one. Okay, I'm gonna start by priming my eyes. This is the About Face eyeshadow primer. Also, let me say, if you hear a buzzing or a humming in the background, I'll do what I can in editing to minimize it. My husband's out on the mower, and I think he's far enough away, but I don't really know what my phone is gonna pick up as far as the audio. So I apologize if you can hear that in the background. Hopefully it's quiet enough, subtle enough that you don't even notice it. Okay, so I've got a light purple lilac-y sweater on. Sorry about my cat. And I have a light soft pink on my cheeks. Hopefully you can see that. And on my lips. So going with that soft purple vibe, and we're in spring, I want to start with the shade Dahlia. Yes, start with the shade Dahlia. And I'm going to pick that up with my finger. So this shade looks decently deep and pigmented in the pan, and I picked up a little bit more on my finger so you could see, but it actually starts off decently sheer, so this is a really pretty shadow to sheer out a bit or build up. I want to put this, I'm gonna focus this on like the outer portion of my eye. I really don't know what I want to do with this look. I'm just making it up as I go. So we are just going to pat that. Oh, also, I'm not a person who gets concerned about having shimmer on like my crease or outer corner. I know some people that is not your thing. That's okay. So that's what we're doing. Okay, so sorry. I don't know where I got cut off there. I had to reset my camera. Here we are. Okay, so I just put the shade Dahlia, built that up a little bit on the outer corner on either eye. I did get it carried down here just a little bit by nature of using my finger. It's a little bit sloppier, but I'm not worried about that. So now I want to take just a big, clean, fluffy brush, nothing on my brush, and just very softly working on the edges of that shadow. I don't know if you can tell, there's really no visible particle to this shade. It's just a very, it's a very smooth, very smooth shadow, but it doesn't have like a texture that stands off of the skin. It's really smooth, really satiny, really one with the skin, emollient, if you will. Okay, sorry, I can't get my camera to focus, but I wanted to show you the comparison. This is a more sheer, just a real quick swipe in the pan, and this is a little bit more built up on my finger, just so you can see what it would look like more sheer versus more impactful. Okay, next, I think I want to use Flower Moon and Persephone to kind of do the middle and then the inner lid. Just not sure which one I want to go which. I think, hopefully you'll be able to see kind of through the pan, that these two have a decently similar base color. So I think I'm gonna do Persephone in the middle, and then we'll do Flower Moon on the inner portion of the lid. Here is Persephone. Oh, that flash of color is so heckin' pretty. Oh, so pretty. Okay, here is Flower Moon. Hopefully you can see that one. That shifts. It's so bright and it shifts a lot of different colors. We're just gonna pop that right on the innermost portion of my lid and then ever so slightly into the more inner corner here. And the other eye. And we got that all over the lower corner of my eye, but that's okay. So pretty. Okay, once again with the clean brush, just gonna run very gently over the top most portion, all of those shades, just pulling them up ever so slightly. Now, how cool is it that each of those 3 shades have their own little shift and yet they all flow together and like do their thing? I love it so much. I want to go in with the shade Meadow and do a little bit of a liner. So I am going to do that, put on my mascara while you go watch the other looks that I've done with this palette. We will come back together at the end to talk about my thoughts and experiences with this palette. You will see me in several of the looks that I have already recorded, that I pulled in other palettes, especially for the mattes. And when I bought this palette, I knew that was going to be the case. Let's talk more about that at the end. And you have some fun. I'll see you back here in a minute. Okay, welcome back. Here is my cat screaming from the other room. Here is the finished look, number 8 or whatever number it is, with my Ensley Rain Flower Moon palette. Hopefully this video has been inspirational so that if you have this palette, or if you have a palette similar, or if you just find yourself kind of in a creative rut, hopefully this has been inspirational to encourage you to just try something new, try something different. If I put myself into a color season, I know that's a thing right now. I haven't done the study and I'm not planning to, but based on my favorite colors and colors that I gravitate toward wearing, spring would be that occasion for me. And not only is this palette Flower Moon about the springtime, but it has the shades that I love so much. All of these greens, purples, pinks, and some variety. This is my first palette that I've had from the brand. I love it. It may always and forever be my favorite palette from the brand. I don't know if I'll ever get over this palette. The mattes are beautiful. They are perfect. They blend so well. The shade Renew, I've ended up using as kind of an additional outer corner shade to add a little bit of more oomph to whatever look I'm doing. You saw that in several of the looks previously. It's beautiful for that. The mattes don't go too deep, which is okay with me because I'm not a crazy big fan of super dark shades all the time. They have their place, but all the time. These shimmers, multi-chromes, duochromes, I think the brand lists them all as duochromes. It's fine by me. They are so stunning. I'm not making this palette to cause anyone FOMO because I myself have been feeling the FOMO of watching YouTube lately. I enjoy it. I'm not by any means trying to impose FOMO on anyone. I'm just excited about this palette and about this brand, and I just want to share it. Let's go back to the duochromes in here. Freesia, all of this, the rest of this top row, Awakening, Sapling, and Sprout. These are all more sheer and thin and satin. So kind of like I was explaining with Dahlia when I put that on my eye, like it can be sheared out or it can be built up. And that one in particular has a little bit deeper of a base. They don't all have that base, but they all have this beautiful flip to them that just catches the eye. There's something bright to them. There's something interesting to them. And those are my favorite things. Okay, Sprout can be a little bit flakier, but it's nothing crazy flaky. Pink Moon, I feel like Pink Moon can kind of go either way. It can be a little bit more pigmented or a little bit more sheared out. That one doesn't have quite as strong of a flip on it. So Forsythia, Primrose, and Pink Moon are maybe about the same, where they're a little bit more saturated. These others over here are more sheer of a base. Maybe can be built up a little more sheer. So then Pink Moon, Primrose, Forsythia have just a little bit of oomph more than that in terms of saturation. So then Bloom, Refresh, and Bliss are definitely a little bit more chunkier and flakier of a formula. Now, I don't always love that kind of formula. These are super pretty and I make an exception for them. And overall, they're not bad. They still have a emollient quality to them that maybe they leave some fallout on the face, but all in all, they do stick to the eyes well. What I do not enjoy is struggling to get a flakier eyeshadow on my eye. Whether it lands on my face or just doesn't go anywhere, that's frustrating. And those, I don't have an issue getting them on my eye. So just to show you swatches of those 3 shades, you can see that they have a little bit more texture to them, but still look at that brightness, look at that sheen that they offer. If you are curious about swatching all of these shades, like I said, my previous video, I'll have that linked in my description box, and I recommend you check that out. If I had to put me in a palette, this would be pretty darn close. Pretty darn close. So I had mentioned that when I originally purchased this palette, I bought it with the understanding that I would pull in other palettes for more mattes, just because we are kind of limited on the number of mattes in here. But I didn't let that stop me from buying the palette. The matte formula is beautiful. The shimmer formula is beautiful. And because I bought it assuming I would want to use other mattes with it, it doesn't bother me to do that. Now, I'm not gonna lie, while a few of those videos, a few of those looks that I did pull in other palettes, I did not always, and lately I have not been pulling in other palettes. I have loved my experience with this palette so much that I've done some damage. A couple weeks, a month probably ago, they launched the Groovy Garden palette. I picked this up on launch day. This has mostly mattes with a few duochromes and shimmers in there. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. I love this palette so much. 60s and 70s, these colors are so my colors. These are earthy shades. I love them so much. And I think these two palettes complement each other well. They also ran a sale a couple weeks ago, so I picked up another palette. I picked up the Harvest Moon palette, knowing that this one is deep, is dark. If this had been my first palette from the brand, I don't know if I would have been as inclined to go back for more. But because I've loved these two so much and I bought this one to be complimentary, I'm so glad that I picked it up. While most of the shades in here are deeper and darker in nature, a lot of them still have that beautiful flash of color to them. And I think the key will be playing with it in the right way for me and for my makeup preferences. But again, I think these palettes will all pair well together. I have also picked up a couple of other products from Ensley Rain. So I've got their loose multi-chrome in the shade Lucid Dreams. So it's got a little screw top lid here and then a little cap that I just now broke, of course. So that breaks, just so you know. There we go. So that little guy pops up and then you've got your loose pigment in there. And this one is really pretty. I haven't worn it. I put it on my eyes once, but I haven't like worn it yet. I also haven't worn these yet, but I'm super excited too. These are their Molten Liquid Eyeshadows. This is the shade Golden Thread, and this one is the shade Dreamweaver. And this one has some holochrome in it, and these both look beautiful. This one has stained the back of my hand when I've worn it, so I'm waiting for the right time to try this one when maybe I won't be wearing it all day long. And also shearing it out, and also putting something under it. If you have any suggestions for how to avoid staining on the eyes, let me know. And it's less about having leftover stain, and more about irritation. So I'm not trying to irritate my eyes, but anyway, the pigment itself looks beautiful. I also may have purchased Cold Moon and Lands of Enchantment and the Twisted Tea Party palette, along with a few more of the liquid multi-chromes, liquid eyeshadows as they call them. And I specifically looked at the new liquids that I'm picking up to see if they say that may cause staining. I think the Lands of Enchantment palette mentions may cause staining. I don't recall if the Twisted Tea Party did or not. So I will be keeping an eye out for that. In the meantime, I just wanted to jump on here, finish the video that I've been working on forever. I apologize, life has been lifing, but here we are today to sit down and chat about Ensley Rain. I am loving everything that I've purchased from the brand, and I'm excited to see what more they have in their future. Okay, so I'm trying to close this video out, but I've got something in my eye. Forgive me, we're gonna power through. I'm so excited about these palettes. I'm so excited I got to try this brand. If you've tried the brand, let me know in the comments what your experience has been. It doesn't have to be the same as mine, but I do love chatting with you guys down there. I'd love it if you would like, subscribe, so I can see you again in the future. And I thank you so much for joining me for today's video, and I'll see you next time.